To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and salutations to the beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this was a process for the position of the Chief Kadhi in Kenya. It just ended yesterday or the other day. So it was done on the 17th, I think. From very early in the morning we were there, but the actual interview started rather late. You know, all of us were in anticipation. We made the submissions. Invitations were people were asked to present when the opening was there. It was closed. The shortlisting came after quite a long duration. As well as after that, there were several other advertisement, re-advertisement. So there was a little kind of anxiety among not just the Muslims, but as the candidates themselves. Alhamdulillah, eventually it came to end on the 17th. The decision was made the same day that the interviews took place. And the information came to me personally the same way it came to everybody. The decision, once made by the JSC, they made that pronouncement in writing and they circulated it to the public. So the officers, judicial officers within the public who were privy to that information, the ones who told me, but it was almost at the same time all the Kenyans knew, because the JSC was seated at their headquarters at the CBK Towers, and nobody else apart from them knew about that decision. And the moment they made the decision, it was circulated throughout the country, and everybody got the information almost at the same time. Yeah, I might say it was a bit of a sweet surprise, of course. Personally, I knew the odds were quite great. Probably I will not get. I was confident of myself, but I knew that all the candidates shortlisted were able, so I had to present my best case. It was a sweet surprise, and now the challenges and the responsibilities will start, and we ask the Allah to enable us to discharge our duties to please Him and to the benefit of the Ummah, inshallah. The Chief Kadhi is a first among equals among the Kadhis. He is also the leader of the Kadhis, generally. He's supposed to be supervising them and to give directions to them. It's the Kadhi is an office in the judiciary, so our core mandate is judicial work. What is being given to us by the Constitution, Article 170, Sub-Article 5. And that is the application of Islamic law in Kenya, Islamic family law in Kenya, essentially, as in brief. So that is our main focus. How will Muslims be able to get their justice in our courts? While they are getting justice, actually applying Islamic law in their lives, both in marriage, divorce, custody, and inheritance. So that is our main focus. How to improve that, how to deepen the access to Kenyans, so that those services can be reached by all Kenyans throughout the country in an affordable, transparent, accessible, and very easy manner. So that is our key focus. But we understand the Kadhi is not the most learned Muslim scholar in Kenya. We are cognizant of the fact that there are professors in Islamic law in Kenya, there are leaders of Islamic law in Kenya and other varieties. There are imams with huge followings, and there are other organizations that have a lot of following. But the history of this office it goes long way back. It's very historical. It's older than the judiciary institution itself. It's reported by Ibn Battuta that in 1330 there already existed some Islamic legal system in Kenya. in 1430, Al-Sakhawi reports that he met the Kadhi of Lamu in Mecca. That was long before even the Omeni camps or the other people came. So it's quite historical. That tradition, and then because of the judiciary, there's that enforceability of our rulings and declarations, gives us a bit of a superiority to that. So it's a heavy responsibility, but it doesn't mean that he is the overall, has monopoly of Islamic jurisprudence. So he has to partner with those other leaders and those other scholars, those other imams who are probably more knowledgeable, but they don't have the same capacity in terms of enforceability and also recognition with the state mechanisms. So our job is to be able to build synergies with the different Muslim leaders of all persuasions in Kenya to see how best the Muslim community can prosper in the advancement and accessing their justice, but also as getting their socio-economic rights and more advancement in Kenya, inshallah. That has been a challenge, specifically when we were drafting the new constitution. And alhamdulillah, a lot of efforts were made by prominent Muslim scholars and activists, as well as others who are knowledgeable of this history of Islamic and the role the Kadhi's court are doing. They are what we'll call perceptions. Perceptions that especially the women are disadvantaged in the Kadhi's court. Also that they cannot get their rights in a fast manner, or what they'll get probably is a bit little in terms both of issues of custody, maintenance, even in inheritance. The term persuasion is deliberate. They are just perceptions. It's not the reality. The reality is that for those who've come, a majority of the women actually, because we are not favoring them, but they are on the right side of the law. We just follow what the Quran says and what the Sunnah of the beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. So I want to urge Muslims, men and female, to have confidence in their court. If you go to the other courts, actually, when you compare truly, you'll find that you get the access here faster, as well as more justiciable. Yeah, it's equitable, it's according to the Quran, and it's not delayed generally. Where the challenges, then kindly engage us, and so that those challenges can be sorted out. I'll ask them to use the space that is there, the facility that is there, not just for their personal interest, but also for the stability and the continuation of this very important instrument and organization. It's very important to get the support, not just from the religious leaders, all the organizations, but all Muslims generally. That support is critical. I cannot do it myself. With my Kadhis, I know I'll be able to lead them. We know the mechanisms, but especially the expectations of Kenyans, Muslims specifically, I will need a lot of support from every Muslim scholar and every Muslim organization in Kenya, because without that, then we will lose a lot of the faith the people have in the institution. We might lose this. So we need that to continue, and we support that, and we welcome everybody on board, and that to translate to positive developments in the Kadhi's court in Kenya. And we thank them all for those congratulations. It just dawned on me. I know the responsibility and the expectations are immense. And inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I pray to Allah to make it easy to me, and I'd never disappoint the Muslim on this responsibility that has been given to me. My experience as a Kadhi is basically what was my edge during the interviews. that experience, the work ethics, the competence, the interpersonal relationship, how we are dealing with Kenyans with dignity. Those ethics I've consistently developed throughout my career. And those are values and ethics that I undertake and seek to instill into the Kadhis, so that the entire Kadhis, that they can be able to achieve the same. So I was Kadhi at Kwale, my first posting. Then I went to Mombasa, and then Isiolo. And I thank very much people from these areas. They actually supported me, gave the opportunity to serve them. And those experiences eventually helped us to be able to be where, to be entrusted with this chance to serve them, the nation as a whole. So that experience, we'll be doing it with the Kadhis. We do annual meetings with the entire Kadhis. And also the remaining challenge will be, now I know what I didn't have as an experience, to be frank, is those are the aspirations of Kenyans. I'm a Kadhi. I undertake and promise to be a Kadhi for all Kenyans. And I hope I get support from Kenyan Muslims from throughout the country. I'll endeavor with their support and partnerships to be able to avail myself to all Kenyans, and especially the women wherever I go, to be able to address them so that they can ventilate their problems and challenges. We can give some guidance on those issues together with the Muslim callers that I'll be seeking their experience and advice as well. The work we do every day in court has an impact, direct impact in the lives of every Kenyan, including the Muslims. So that is can be one of the first pillar of that policy is a strong institution. And how that is going to be achieved is through creation of a high court in every county and a magistrate's court in every sub-county. Those are policies of the judiciary. So as an institution, the judiciary is very serious on the issue of deepening access to justice throughout the country, that there's a court in almost every sub-county. And that applies well even for the Kadhi's court. But you know as well as I do that when you're making decisions, there are issues of budgeting. And issues of budgeting depend essentially on data. And that's where the role of the Muslims, you don't know it, but your singular decision can be detrimental to the deepening of the access of the Kadhi's court. For example, I'll tell you, there are courts that have been closed, and we transferred the Kadhis to other regions. Why? Because we put a Kadhi there, and he sits, and there's no work. And so that's why there's no work. People are not going for, they don't even want to get a marriage certificate. And to put a Kadhi in a station, he doesn't sit alone. He has a remuneration himself and his staff. So there's a financial aspect to it. So those are the issues. If the data speaks that there is a need, the laws will be given Kadhi. Kadhis have been established in areas where there's no a magistrate court. So this is the role that I'll be asking Muslims to please use the Kadhi's courts. Because when you don't, the effect is that the Kadhis might not be, we might not have an increase in the Kadhis, they just remain the way they are. That's one of the reasons among the others. But as Muslims, we should always continue to fight for justice to be deepened, because we know sometimes these are services, these are rights, and there's a policy. So also there are areas, the distance, when the distance is too much from the home to the car to the court, then probably that impact. There are many other factors. So we still engage the judiciary, but we have also our role to play to ensure that more Kadhis are brought on board and employed to serve more Kenyans. Divorce, I'm not more worried about the rate of divorce, because some divorce cases have merit. When you find this is a bad marriage, the wife is in trouble, she is suffering, then that divorce is merited. But when there are children involved and these divorces break down, that affects the community. It impacts directly the community, the stability. Although we don't know it, we take it as an individual thing, but eventually it's a collective thing. It affects the stability of the community in that area. So we'll like people to use all avenues to minimize the rate of divorce, and we encourage them to get marital counseling, pre and post, even during marital. That will help. There's no marital education, lack of it, and the main reason of the marital discord mostly falls on men: lack of maintenance, cruelty. So if they can reduce that and take their responsibilities seriously, then they are actually helping the community to prosper. On the side of our sisters and our aunts and our mothers, the other reason marriages break is because of the husband has married a second wife. We must accept this is a hadith. This is acceptable and Islam, provided the husband fulfills the requirements and is competent to have two wives. It's actually helpful for the community. We should not seek it just because he's married a second wife, unless he's not doing fairness in those marriages. Those are the. If we reduce that, then we'll be able to have a very strong and vibrant community. The other thing, the disputes in inheritance, they impact the socio-economic aspect of the Muslim community. If after every person has died, a Muslim, we are fighting of the inheritance for years, that money is being lost. It's not circulating, and that's affecting our economy. Okay, or one person is benefiting, the others are not. That is disadvantaging. It's increasing poverty among the security. You find it is a family problem. It is not. It's a bigger problem than that. So let's have inheritance disputes sorted very early. Even when you have agreements as a family, you do have no issues. Usually the first generation, the primary heirs, have no problem. But when they go on, then what we call the grandsons, the second generation starts problem. Have that agreement, that distribution documented, because the grandsons, when they fight eventually, also that trickles down to the community. People siblings are not talking to each other, and the money is not flowing, and we are also not prospering. And then there are avenues we can actually improve to ensure we don't have necessarily to be rich, but we have to be independent socially and economically. Even we don't have, it's not a must that we have to split our wealth after our father or mother has died, but everybody must get his share. That is the main problem, because splitting a shamba after a father has died into small, and then you die, eventually there's no productivity in that. But if that can be invested, but everybody gets his share, we need to be very strong financially and economically for a very strong and vibrant society to prosper. I am new on the job, and I will not be engaged in any political deliberations or persuasions. As a policy in the judiciary, you should not belong to any political party. But as a Muslim leader now, Muslims, the issue of peace is essential and it's a paramount. And we have to protect the peace at all costs. Peace is very important, and it's the duty of every Muslim to ensure that there is peace. Muslims must never be participating in any acts of destruction and such things. Second thing, the right and the freedom for faith and perform the prayers. You see, because of the lack of peace, now it's affecting our very key and fundamental right to perform, especially the Friday prayers. So I will call on for peace to prevail. I will call on the political parties to engage for a solution towards a peaceful coexistence in this country. My main message is please use the Kadhi's court, make use of the Kadhi's court. Have advice even when you think probably you've lost a case, because in any case there must be a winner and a loser. It's the way you present your case. We just follow the evidence, the facts and the law. That should not make you run away from the Kadhi's court. A believer is the one who accepts the will of God. And there, even when you've lost, there are channels that you can pursue. So we make this strong institution, and let's be peaceful, and also let's be productive in this case and participate in the affairs of our country. This is our country. As a Muslim, we have a duty towards ensuring there's peace in this country. And I ask all of us to put our hands together and work together towards